The deputy chairman of Russia's Security Council says Russia may have to use nuclear weapons if Ukraine's counteroffensive is successful and ends with, quote, part of our land being taken away. These comments come as the counteroffensive appears to be entering a new, more aggressive phase. For the first time, Ukrainian forces have reached one of Russia's long-stretching dragon teeth, that's what it's called, defensive lines. The concrete anti-tank fortifications are one example of the deeply layered defenses Russia has developed to slow any attempt to take back territory in southern Ukraine. With us now is CNN military analyst, former member of the Joint Staff, the Pentagon, and former deputy director for training at the NSA, retired Colonel Cedric Leighton. Colonel Leighton, before we get to what we just showed people, what's your reaction to hearing what Dmitry Medvedev said?
Well, I think it's very concerning, Poppy, and good morning to you. You know, one of the things that the Russians are looking at is the fact that they officially annexed all this territory right here that the Russians have occupied. So what that could mean is that when you look at all the different possible paths, if the Ukrainians come in this way and take this territory, the threat from Medvedev is that they would potentially use tactical nuclear weapons. That, of course, would be a game changer in a case like this.
Colonel Leighton, can you walk people through, Dragon's Teeth? It sounds like a buzzy type of title, but I think when you go into what that actually means, it underscores why this is such a slog, why this is such a complex moment in the counteroffensive. What does that actually mean?
So, Phil, what that really means is when you look at all the different places that the Ukrainians are moving in, so if they come in here, you see the very little territorial gains made by the Ukrainians in all these areas right here. And the reason for that is, like you mentioned, the Dragon's Teeth. These are concrete barriers filled with not only concrete, but rebar. And what they do is they actually, are barriers. And as you can see here, you see the right in front of us, you see the Dragon's Teeth, and as the vehicle, the infantry fighting vehicle, is moving forward, it is actually trying to get into a trench, and it's moving through that trench. It's an extremely vulnerable point right here. But think of this, hundreds of miles of this kind of stuff. We've got a 600-mile long front right here, and all of this is area that is defended in one way or another, some of it more heavily than other areas. But the basic idea is that at every step of the way, there is some kind of defensive area, and it's especially true in places like Crimea, and it's also true in parts of the Eastern Front around Bakhmut. So this is a very significant area for the Russians to try to hold, and of course for the Ukrainians to try to regain.